When I'm beginning a piece, whether it's for orchestra, it's for, a singer, I start at the keyboard improvising and finding chords, harmonies that speak to me, and then it's all about shaping how those harmonies are strung together, and it's a long chiseling out process after that. But it always begins with improvisation, or as I like to call it, making things up. Yeah.
This is Wayla Chambo for WHRO-FM. Caroline Shaw is an innovative composer, violinist, and vocalist originally from North Carolina and now based in New York. She was the youngest ever recipient of the Pulitzer Prize for Music in 2013 and has written for and collaborated with a wide range of artists, from Renee Fleming to the Philharmonia Baroque Orchestra to Ben Folds. Caroline is a guest artist with the Virginia Symphony this week, performing 3 of her own works on a program that also includes music by Brahms and Beethoven. I was thrilled to have the chance to talk with Caroline about her creative process, the many musical hats she wears, and what listeners can expect at these concerts. If you're talking to a listener who's new to your music, so maybe this is someone who goes to the symphony regularly or listens to our classical radio station, so they're used to hearing music by Brahms and Beethoven and Bach and Mozart, what should they expect hearing your music on these concerts? What might be familiar and what might be new?
That's a great question. When I'm writing for orchestra, I'm always kind of thinking about past works for orchestra, things that I love, which are especially are Brahms is one of the composers that I love a lot, and Brahms is on this concert, second half. I might tuck myself in the back of the second violins to play along if Edwin, the conductor, lets me. I like the idea of sort of taking some of these older pieces or styles or composers and, identifying what it is that I love most about it, and then making something entirely new out of it, which you may never even hear the influence of Brahms in there, but it's part of the process for me, is kind of playing with the past in a way and having fun.
Can you tell us a little more about the 3 pieces that you're doing on this particular program? So there's 2 for voice and then the violin piece.
Mm-hmm. One is a song called Red, Red Rose, which I had actually written for another singer, a wonderful Swedish mezzo-soprano, Ann-Sophie von Otter, and a Baroque orchestra a few years ago. And it takes the text from Robert Burns' Red, Red Rose, which has been a famous folk song, but this is a new take on it. So it's a very different melody and different harmony. And the other it is still called Other Song. And the history between that is actually that I was asked by Ben Folds to be part of a program in D.C. with the National Symphony and the singer Sarah Bareilles, and I love both Sarah and Ben so much, and they're such great songwriters. So Other Song is actually my answer to Sarah Bareilles' radio hit Love Song, and there's sort of like little hints of it in there. It's not they sound nothing alike, but lyrically there's kind of an answer to it, and it's really all about how to write a song and how you find the harmony and how you find the line.
In the program notes for your violin piece, Load, it said you've been the only soloist for the piece, and that the solo part is not yet written down or not completely written down. And I was wondering a couple things about that. So what's different when you're writing a piece for yourself to play versus for other musicians to play? And is this particular work something you would like other musicians to play? Is that something you're interested in, or not so much with this one?
Yeah, it's interesting. Whenever I play low, I have to go back and revisit recordings and figure out exactly kind of what I did and what I want to do, because nothing is written down in the score. And I like that. It means it changes every time, just a little bit. A lot of things are kind of fixed. If I were going to hand that piece off to another violinist, of course I would write a lot more of it down. But when we first premiered it in 2015, I was really still kind of writing, trying to figure out what it was. So I didn't want to get to put things down on paper that I would just change later on. And I enjoy playing the piece myself. For me, it's a way to get to know the musicians and get to be up there with the orchestra players, rather than as a composer, if you write a piece for orchestra, you're often sitting in the audience, or during rehearsal you're sitting 100 feet away from them, and you don't really have a chance to interact. And with this piece, I'm able to turn over and look at the violas, look at the violins, and I think it sort of makes the aspects of being a composer, makes it more personal.
Makes me think of how, in the past, many composers did perform their own works. I think of, Mozart playing his piano concertos and improvising parts of them on stage. And how
I can understand why he did that. He might have been in the same boat.
So, of course, people probably always want to talk about you winning the Pulitzer Prize and being the youngest winner of the Pulitzer when you did a few years ago. And I'm curious about what impact that had on your life as a musician. How has that changed since winning that prize?
My parents were really surprised, and a lot of other people were really surprised when that happened. It was in 2013. And at that point, I actually hadn't written very much music, but the Pulitzer was for a particular piece called Partita for 8 Voices, for the ensemble that I sing with, Roomful of Teeth. So 8 singers, all a cappella. And, it was an incredible honor, and I know how many other composers deserve that award, and it's been a wonderful boost to the career of many of the singers in Roomful of Teeth, because we perform a lot more. We perform that piece in particular. And also it was a lot of attention kind of suddenly on my work and what I do. And it was actually kind of a scary time. I have some perspective now. It was 6 years ago. But it was scary because there was suddenly a lot of expectations from me of, what's she going to do? What does she do? I was like, I don't even know. I don't even know if I can write music, guys. But I sort of knew that there was a lot of work to do, and I'm really lucky to have the opportunities that have come up since then. Yeah. And I also, there's a, huge responsibility, I feel like, that comes with the prize, to be a good example as a musician in the world, especially for younger musicians. So a lot of what I do now is talking to younger students, younger musicians, and talking about how to be a good musical citizen in the world. And that's work that is really important to me. Yeah.
What kind of things do you say to them?
I emphasize kindness, because that's something that can't be said enough, I think. And I think for a long time in classical music, that wasn't that wasn't talked about. And it's really important. I think empathy and kindness with your fellow musicians is really important. Hard work, just in general, and curiosity about all kinds of music. I never expected to be a singer, and yet I think tomorrow night I'm going to sing 2 songs with an orchestra in front of an audience.
That's apparently happening.
It's happening. That is happening. It's on the schedule. I saw it on the schedule today.
It's in the program. What's it like wearing those different musical hats during the same performance, during the same evening? So you're singing, you're playing violin, and it's your own music as well.
To be honest, I think this might be I usually avoid actually having the 2 things on the same program, but I know Edwin, the conductor, really well, and he thought it was a good idea. So I think it's interesting actually to just be able to share some different sides of myself and of my music with an audience. Feels like sometimes when I go and I play my violin concerto, no one ever hears me speak or hears my own voice, and I think there's something that's very personal about that. So I think in this program where I'll be singing the 2 songs first and then playing the concerto, and I'm just curious to talk to audience members to see how that might change how they listen, maybe.
Caroline, thank you so much. It's been really a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you so much, Wayla.
And I can't wait to hear the concerts.
Me too. Thanks. Bye.
Caroline Shaw performs with the Virginia Symphony tonight, that's Thursday evening, and also on Saturday evening and Sunday afternoon. Also on the program, the Beethoven King Stephen Overture and the Brahms Symphony No. 4. Guest conductor Edwin Outwater will be at the podium, and he'll also give a pre-concert talk before each performance. You can find all the details at virginiasymphony.org.